Leave your comments on the Ask Reddit sub, and I'll read your answers on the next episode of LWIAR. Fast food workers, what is your, sir, this is a Wendy's moment. Was a shift manager at a McDonald's in the middle of a mall. A guy walks up to the counter with several McDonald's bags of food. Guy: my wife came through your drive-thru and you messed up the order. Me: are you sure she came through our drive-thru? Guy: yes, she told me she came through the drive-thru, and when she got home she realized the order was wrong. Y'all need to give us our money back and give us the right food. Me, confused while looking around the mall. Me: did she drive through Sears or JCPenney to get here? Guy looks around and finally realizes he's in the middle of a mall. Grabs the bags and huffs away. That was the single greatest amount of human stupidity I had experienced until I joined Reddit. Nothing erodes faith in humanity like working retail and spending too much time on the internet. No, as someone who has worked in retail when younger and for the last 10 years has flown extensively internationally, airports win, hands freaking down. It's like Sky Retail, but everyone's cranky, sleep-deprived, away from home, and probably been on the internet too much during their travels. Yay, airports suck. Weird. I love airports. Yeah, there are a bunch of grumpy idiots everywhere, but to me the thought of all these people coming to one place for a moment before heading off on their own adventures with their own stories and preparing to suspend themselves in the sky, I just find it inspiring. And there's often cool architecture in the airports. Great people watching too. I always see some ridiculously beautiful people too. I like to listen to ambient music in headphones while in airports. Really changes the whole vibe. I work at a Chili's, and when I was hosting, old people would constantly come in and talk about how weird it was that we redecorated so suddenly and where did the salad bar go. They thought we were Sizzlers, which was 2 buildings away from us. Happened at least 4 times. I also work there and it amazes me that people make that mistake everywhere. I have people come in to pick up food and get incensed at the fact that we don't have their name on our list and we must have screwed up. Then I ask what is on their order and they rattle off food from the Outback, which is next door. They say nothing and walk out the door. Like I get making mistakes. But how do you miss a giant pepper on the side of the building expecting steaks with an Australian theme? People come and try to pick up for Applebee's too, that's all the way across town. And they get mad at me. Like, bro, we have a giant pepper on the side of the building and everywhere you look. The frick? Nope, that's an apple. Sauce, I have never seen fruit. Lol, Pepperbees. Chillabees. Work at Panera. Guest calls in from car. Several people in background, all giving orders for a pickup. First order is something simple. Next order is an item we don't carry. A salmon dish of some kind. I know there are some regional Paneras that have or have had salmon. We are not one of them. So I let them know. Hey, I'm sorry, but we don't carry salmon. Maybe, and the person on the other end of the phone cuts me off and starts getting really aggressive. Yes you do. You do. They scream. But I don't. We don't. So then I'm like, hey, maybe you're thinking of another chain. We are very similar to, and I start to list off some other places. And they cut me off again screaming, I know you have fricking salmon. What the frick? I ate it just the other day. And at this point I'm just being honest with him and say, hey man, I don't really need this attitude. We don't have salmon. I can't make the dish for you. You have us confused with someone else. There's a long silence and finally someone, not the person who's been yelling, says, wait, this isn't insert some totally not Panera sounding place that I don't remember here. No. And then everyone in the car starts yelling at each other. And I hang up. Customer service is the worst. Once big companies figured it was cheaper to let buttholes abuse underpaid staff instead of kicking the buttholes out of stores, society really took a turn for the worse. I can't be wrong. You are lying, even though you have 0 reasons to do so. 0 reasons to do so. Maybe not 0 reason. When I worked at Pizza Hut, there were a few things on the menu that I would have loved to say didn't exist if I could have gotten away with it, like the crispy bone-in wings. They rarely cooked right and soaked up sauce in a bad way. Then, my boss got on my butt for using too much sauce, but if I used the minuscule amount she wanted, they would have been sent back for not enough sauce. Those bone-in wings were and presumably still are, a massive pain. They're nasty. For starters, with more than a handful while I worked there still having feathers attached or some other disgusting result of being misprocessed. And that's before they even got fried. Ugh, the way you had to micromanage them or they suck like hell. And if someone newish worked on Wing Street you basically had to make sure they're doing sourcing right because it was so fiddly. First of all, frick you up for making me relive this. Now, working at McDonald's, every single day at the same time, 1600-ish old guy would come in and order his food. Most people knew that he wanted a special order. Overcooked the crap out of the patty. Started up right when he walked in. Anyway, that's not the problem. That was easy. The problem is this dude was forgetful as all hell, and would demand a ceramic plate to eat on every time. So that's when we would explain it to him. Dude, this is McDonald's. We don't have plates. And he'd usually be like, oh right. But sometimes he would just rant about how we should have plates. I saw him absolutely flip the frick out, because a girl stepped outside the break room with a plate of food she brought from home. I knew you bastards had plates and could not convince him otherwise ever thereafter. Keep it in the break room is the moral of the story. Yeah, we offered many solutions, but when he was in a mood it was no use. This reminds me of a best of Craigslist post where someone was hiring someone to be a host server at McDonald's. Not literally as a McDonald's employee, more like they were going to pay this person to act as their server. It had something along the lines of, you will greet us at the door. You will walk us to our table and give us menus. Then you will serve us drinks and ask if we would like appetizers. If I can find the post, I will link it. Edit found it. Go up to the counter and buy the food from the employees. But wait a while, so it seems like they are making our food. This part had me dying. Man, if the dude's in every day, you guys should have just bought him a plate. Kept it under the counter for him. It sounds like he might have had dementia or something and it wasn't his fault, he didn't know. Minimum wage workers ain't shelling out so some butthole has a plate. This is some peak customer is always right bullcrap here. Keeping a single, special plate under the counter for the world's most special old man is ridiculous. I dunno man, it's a McDonald's. He's obviously old and demented. And you can pick up a plate for like a $1 at a thrift store. What's the harm in showing a little care for a long-time repeat customer? What happens when the lady behind him in line asks for a plate? What about when he goes to the McDonald's across town and screams at them for hiding the plates? Is the staff now responsible for keeping the plate clean, and what kind of intensely messy liability arises if old dude breaks a ceramic plate and hurts himself, or it isn't properly cleaned by minimum wage staff and he gets sick? Where do you keep it in the restaurant? Fast food joints generally don't have a ton of extra space. Is your dishwasher detergent useful on ceramic? Is your thrift store ceramic plate for sure food safe? Is it for sure food safe after sitting in your sunny sink? If an employee breaks and cuts themselves on the unofficial plate, are they covered by workman's comp? Do they have to sue the employee who bought it for their medical bills if the store owner says it's not their problem? Not trying to be odd, but having managed in a restaurant, that's about half of the questions that would run through my head. And fast food places have way stricter procedures than where I worked. Also, I'm all for good service, but doing crap like that is a one-way ticket to fricking over other shifts or yourself in future. Everyone, justifiably, hates the guy who, in trying to be nice, sets a really stupid or unnecessary precedent. Restaurant patrons let no good deed go unpunished. They run the muffins through a one-timing conveyor belt oven. They can run it through twice, but it may be extra crispy. It's a little annoying when it's busy because it slows down the line. But it's not a lot of extra work. If the cashier gives you a weird look, ask for the muffin well done. My knowledge is from 10 plus years ago. FYI. They run the muffins through a one-timing conveyor belt oven. Better than a two-timing conveyor belt oven. Are you asking if a burnt English muffin is code for getting a BJ? This is very good. My daughter was an absolute nightmare today. It truly challenged me as a parent. I questioned if I was making the right choices, if she could see my frustration, and if it was impacting the way she sees me. The guilt of wondering if my parenting is going to end up causing her problems later in life weighed on me so heavily tonight. This comment made me laugh, like more than it should have. So thank you. Sincerely. Tears in my eyes at the thought of her MCBJ. Edit. Well, I didn't think this just offhand comment would garner so much support and positive response. Thank you all. Being a parent is tough, and I'm glad that we can take a moment and just enjoy humor even in our toughest times. Get your MCBJ in a happy ending meal, for a limited time only. I have to know, what's the toy that comes with this happy ending meal? Extra napkins. Dude came to drive through. I open the window. Sir, how can I help you? I'm out of checks. He replies calmly. Not sure I follow you. I say, I'm out of checks. He says again more impatiently. Right, I heard you, but I don't know what you want me to do about it. You can pay with cash or card too. Dude gives me a weird look, then says, oh, this ain't the bank, and peels out away from the window. I'm a pharmacist. Someone at that drive-thru is dealing. My account balance is low. And taking checks. More likely this is a passphrase. There was a guy dealing out of the McDonald's near where I used to work, and you had to order some weird combination of things to get your drugs. Does everything in the USA have a drive-thru? Every store is a drive-thru if you really want it to be. Too true. My grandmother, God rest her soul, installed a second drive-thru at the Taco Bell in her small Kansas town. Lost her license after that. It wasn't me involved, but I witnessed it. I worked at Burger King when I was a teenager. We were short-staffed one day, and the girl on the drive-thru was on break, so our manager stepped in to cover her. He was pretty old and didn't have the best hearing, so most customers were pulling around to the window to talk to him as he was struggling to hear through the headset. Anyway, this one guy rolls up to the window and shouts, I want a large Big Mac meal with a Coke, please. Is that so damn hard? My manager very calmly says, my apologies sir. That won't be difficult. He leans out of the window and points down the road. There's a McDonald's about 3 miles in that direction. They'll be able to help. Have a nice day sir. Then he just closes the window and walks around the corner out of sight. I laughed so hard. That's a freaking power move right there, LMAO. This is the best one. I used to work at Target, and they hired a new girl who had previously worked at Walmart to work the fitting rooms, and by default the intercom system. A few days after she started, she was about to make an announcement over the intercom, and I guess habit took over because she started the announcement with "Attention Walmart shoppers." She realized her mistake and made a good recovery with "You are in the wrong store." She is a genius. That's the type of coworker that makes my life bearable. Ha, I freaking relate to this crap. 3 years at Chipotle. Then I start selling boats at Bass Pro. First call. Thank you for calling Brodemort Chipotle. You can't buy a boat there. But this is Bass Pro. So you're good. What can I do for you on my first day here? Facebar. Oh man, I did the same crap even when I got moved from drive-thru to front counter at KFC for a night. Walked up to my register, confidently announced please drive through to the next window, and immediately turned around and went to go stand in the back to deal with my shame. Worked at a small roadside produce place. My boss had a few different stalls, so I was often left to run the stall myself. I remember this lady walked up. Do you have any tomatoes? Sorry, we don't, but the place down the street has them. Then go there. But competitor has X is always my favorite in any job ever. Why did you come here if there has it? They are shopping around for the best price while at the same time wasting the difference in gas. Used to work at a sign shop. Well, I can get those same signs online for half that price. Okay, so order them. I'm not cutting my prices in half. Oh, is it because they take a week to ship and I can have them ready for your event tomorrow? Hey. People really do not realize how convenience is a huge part of the cost. I do entertainment lighting in NYC, and on one show wanted me to pick something up on the way into work. I gave them a $15 bill for the something, and a $40 bill for the cab. Sure, they could have ordered it online and paid basically nothing for shipping. But then they would have had to wait days instead of less than 12 hours. Edit. I gave them a bill, I gave my employer an invoice for the expenses I'd incurred shopping for them. Apparently a lot of people got confused. Thanks for watching LWIAR, the best of recent r/AskReddit submissions and comments. If you like this video, Check out LWIAR too. And don't forget to like and subscribe.